Hello all, good morning. I hope now all of you are able to hear me properly. My name is Manish Rathi. I'm a co-founder and director at Novel Vista. I would like to welcome all of you to our interesting series of webinars. And today we are hosting another interesting topic on business agility, migrating and modernizing workload to the cloud. I can see still we have a good amount of audience joining in. Thank you everyone for showing your time, joining this learning webinars. I'm sure all of you are enjoying this learning carnival, which is hosted by Novel Vista about the knowledge sharing webinars. We already conducted around 9 odd webinars on a very different topics that includes emerging technologies, leadership, behavioral thing, design thinking, and multiple other areas. So stay connected. I'm sure you all of you are enjoying this learning. My team is also sharing the recorded links of the webinars to the participants who could not join because of other business priorities. We have also started the WhatsApp notification service. If any one of you wish to get registered to our upcoming webinars, physical summits, some important discussion on the training certification, links of the recorded webinar, on-demand webinars, all these options are available. I think if you can get connected with us via WhatsApp notification service. Thank you. And another thing is that we are coming up with another interesting series of webinar for the month of May 20. There are, I can see, around 10 odd webinars. All of these webinars are again from the industry experts on very interesting topic. I'm sure all of you will again like to join this webinar. So let's start with the today's webinar. I would like to thanks and welcome our speaker. So today's speaker is one of the industry expert, Mr. Biswajit Mohapatra. He's a global integrated delivery leader at IBM. He's a regular speaker. He's a global speaker, keeps on talking at the various international forums, at the various conferences at India. He has been awarded as the CIO of the year. Yeah. And there are multiple achievements and I would say skills which Biswajit holds. Biswajit holds a very strong connect with Novel Vista. Whenever we request him, he's always ready to deliver the sessions. He was the part of a couple of summits and multiple webinars hosted by Novel Vista. So I would like to thank Biswajit for joining into this webinar. Just to give you a brief about Novel Vista, I'll just take a minute out of here. Like Novel Vista is the India's leading and the authorized training partner for multiple technology and the non-technology based training and certification programs that include project management. It could be PMP, Prince2, program management, ITIL, then technologies including Microsoft, AWS, Google Cloud, or even from the security compliance perspective, you name the trainings, and those are currently available with Novel Vista. And most of the corporates and individual professionals are preferring Novel Vista to avail their career journey as a part of growth plan. So these are a couple of last 3 webinars which are due for the current month. And for the month of May, again, we would be circulating a training calendar. Please be in touch with your L&D and the HR person. I strongly recommend you and request you as well to share the feedback about the webinars to your L&D so that they would be also equally motivated to share the April webinar calendar with all of you, because most of the time webinar invites are shared through your learning and development and the HR managers. So whoever you got the invite, please do share the feedback if there are any areas for improvement with them. We will assure you that we will continue arranging these kind of similar webinars on the knowledge sharing with all of you. So that's all about. I would just hand it over the screen to Biswajit now. Yeah, and we look forward for a very interesting session from him. Just give me a minute. I'm assigning the screen to him. Okay, Biswajit, good morning and welcome to the Novel Vista webinar series. I hope you are able to hear us and we can see your screen as well. I'm just handing over the desk to you and putting myself on a mute now. Thank you.
Thanks, Manish. Thanks for the nice introduction. And I see probably 400 plus attendees has already joined. So thanks everyone for taking time to attend this webinar. The topic of this webinar that I'm going to talk on today is business agility and migrating modernizing workloads for cloud. How business agility can be achieved through application portfolio migration and modernization to a hybrid multi-cloud environment is going to be the today's theme. Let me just talk about the cloud adoption journey for our clients today. We all know that we are entering chapter 2 story in cloud, and this is all about unlocking the business value for newer business initiatives. What is happening in the cloud world? If you look at the enterprise cloud adoption landscape, we know that there is $1 trillion opportunity for hybrid cloud implementation by 2021. There's $8.2 billion cloud application development market size by 2022. $203 billion big data and business analytics opportunity by 2022. And in the same time, as per IDC's latest report, $10.3 billion DevOps market by 2023. So the second phase, the chapter 2 of cloud journey, it's going to be all about open, secure, hybrid multi-cloud, which is kind of coming off very clearly in most of the industry analytics reports today. But having said that, though cloud accelerates business transformation to a large extent, yet only 20% of the workloads are moved to cloud. 80% of enterprise workloads have not migrated to cloud still. 80% of the workloads are still sitting on traditional data centers. So the million-dollar question here is, why is that? Why we have not moved faster? There is such a large market opportunity, and as cloud is becoming new normal, why large amount of workloads are still not moved to cloud? What is preventing? What are the barriers for these workloads to move to cloud? In the same time, if you look at some of the industry metrics, today 67% of the customers are using more than one public cloud provider. So though there are customers, they have adopted some kind of cloud journey, there is large amount of workloads are yet to be moved to cloud. And the barriers, the prime reasons for them not moving to cloud are, of course, many of us are aware of that. There's a strong challenge for movement between clouds when we talk about adopting multi-cloud. There are challenges around connectivity between clouds. And there are challenges which is attributed by consistency of management when you embrace those multi-cloud hybrid environments. So today, most of the clients have kind of embarked some kind of journey where they are addressing low-hanging applications and exploiting those applications by moving into cloud in most of those organizations, right? So how could we really help these customers and help them leapfrog in their cloud journey and move faster, better, cheaper to the new cloud environment is going to be the essence of my talk today. As I said, the new normal is hybrid, multi-cloud, and open. How we can enable our clients to move from a traditional IT environment to a hybrid multi-cloud journey is going to be the key success criteria for our clients as they embrace cloud in their cloud 2.0 journey towards leveraging hybrid multi-cloud environment. Okay, and migration modernization is going to be a key player in every organization's digital transformation, digital reinvention journey today. And the metric says there are 9.5 times clients more likely to see improvement in product quality when they move to cloud. There's huge cost reductions that can be expected when clients are embracing cloud. There is increased employee engagement and employee experience when cloud is embraced. And of course, your customer retention goes off in a hybrid multi-cloud environment when you are embracing the cloud journey, right? Having said that, still not many customers have moved to cloud as we discussed. So why exactly clients have not embraced cloud, and why application modernization is so difficult for most of our customers? If you really look at today's client's thought dilemma, if we are talking about any of the CIO, and let's look at those bloating application portfolios within every organization, right? Uh, Grown over a period of time, starting from old legacy mainframes, whether it's COBOL, Natural, PL1, Assembler, whatnot, then moving into the second layer of programming languages, whether it's Fortran or C, C++, VC++, Visual Basic 4, Visual Basic 6, and then coming to the newer generation of languages which we kind of deploy today, your main stack, MongoDB, ExpressScript, Node.js, uh, AngularJS, so on and so forth. So there are plenty of technologies within application portfolio, plenty of operating systems, plenty of databases, right? Application servers, whatnot. And that's really making every customer's application portfolio very much unmanageable. Sometimes being the older applications, like I say, Tom made it, Tom is not there today, extinct from the world, or Tom has already become a manager, right? So nobody knows it's there, it's running, and it's delivering value. But it's unmanageable, it's not scalable, it's very brittle, no documentation in place, and we all know basically the issues associated with all of those legacy applications. So one end, there is complete pressure on CIOs to really make those applications move to something better, move towards the cloud. But in the same time, it's a huge risk because it's run my mission critical business process, business rules, business logic. And in the process of migrating and modernizing to cloud, if something goes wrong, if I touch something and that impacts something, probably my entire business could be on trouble, basically, right? So how do I really balance this thought dilemma? One end, there is need for interoperability, there is need for moving to cloud quickly, and other end, there is a strong chance of if something gets missed, a mission critical business rule, logic, or workflow gets missed, then probably my business could be in trouble, right? I think that's the third dilemma every CIO is going through today. And do we really have a well-defined process, method, and tool that can address the challenges that every CIO is facing today, that can address the barriers that every CIO is facing today, so that it can be more seamless towards moving to cloud and helping our clients embrace those joining to cloud, right? That's the uh, driver today that every organization is really looking at. In the same time, when I talk about these portfolios, all of us know that there are standardization issues, there are simplification issues, there are issues related to restructuring the portfolio, right? The code is not very scalable, the code is not very manageable, lot of fragmentation within the application source code. And how do I really balance those so that I can seamlessly move to the target cloud environment? That's probably the challenge every business is facing today. And to address this, there are multiple options available to add into the chaos, basically, right? There are, we all know about the R6, right? There are need to rewrite the applications, there are need to re-engineer the applications, or maybe there are school of thoughts around code conversion, there are school of thoughts around refactoring the applications, or completely uh, replacing it in a commercial off the shelf or SaaS model as well, right? So if I really look at the group of thoughts, at one end, probably there is, every organization has these challenges, right? At one end, you have challenges around, uh, there is a set of people who thinks probably all these legacy applications can be replaced by commercial off the shelf packages. The other extreme of the story is that it's there, it's delivering me, why change it, right? And then there is a middle gambit of all of those things that falls under these R6. How do I re-engineer? How do I rewrite? How do I reface? How do I refactor? How do I rehost so that I can move into a better and richer cloud experience to my customers' journey, right? So how do we really address this? So many options, there's a dire need, but there is a huge risk also associated with this. So every time, I think the client's need when it comes to migrating and modernizing to cloud is basically around, can you help me in migrating and modernizing my portfolio to cloud with a reduced risk? Can you help me in migrating my portfolio to cloud by providing time to market advantage, because I need to compete with my competition? Can you improve my productivity? Can you provide me business agility? Can you align my business with IT so that I have a seamless business to IT experience for my clients? So these are basically the challenges that every organization is looking at, right? And when I talk about application modernization, what happens? Let's look at the changing landscape basically. On architecture front, if I may ask you a question, what really has changed over a period of time? Let's go back to several years back. When we talk about architecture, initially I talked about a lot of legacy applications, COBOL, PL1, Natural, blah, blah, blah. So in those times, I think it all started with the joining of monolith, basically, right? And from monolith, we started slowly moving towards a world where we talked more about service-oriented architecture. And from service-oriented architecture, slowly we are evolving towards microservices architecture today's context. That's the joining of architecture. If you look at the infrastructure journey, what is happening basically? When the monoliths were there, the infrastructure journey were more centered around physical servers. Slowly, those physical servers are evolved towards VMs, right? When we move towards the SOA world. And today, in the context of microservices, the infrastructure is more evolved towards containers, Kubernetes that we all are aware of, right? And in the same time, how delivery has really evolved basically. From a traditional waterfall kind of model in the monolith world, slowly we have evolved towards agile, and in the current context of agile, DevOps, and SRE, when we talk about microservices, containerization, and Kubernetes, right? So that's the evolution of technology, evolution of the approach, evolution of the delivery model. So what application modernization really playing, and where exactly in this evolution application modernization is existing today? If you really look at the evolution from SOA to microservices, the evolution from VMs to containers, the evolution from agile to DevOps SRE environment. So that's the transition point. And in these three layers of architecture, as well as your infrastructure and delivery, application modernization is going to play strong role. And when I talk about I'm modernizing application to cloud, somewhere or other, I am touching all these three layers of the modernization journey within the organization, right? So it's very important to select the right modernization approach, and that's critical, as you say, to attain the desired outcomes at all these three transformation layers that I talked about. So the chaotic portfolio, at the start of the chaotic portfolio, how do you really identify the candidates for migration and modernization? That's the million-dollar question, which every organization is struggling with today, right? Let's say I have 2,000 applications, maybe 6,000 servers within my portfolio. How do I really analyze those based on the business value, based on the technology value, based on the cost and strategic value of those applications, and come up with a roadmap? And based on the roadmap, I can talk about which applications can be tolerated, which applications can be integrated, or which applications can be migrated, and which applications can be eliminated. So maybe out of those 2,000 applications, I identify 20% of those applications can be rationalized or decommissioned. And that become very low-hanging fruit for me, because by decommissioning, I save money, I save infrastructure cost, and those cost savings can really move into funding my future migration and modernization initiatives. Then the next disposition is maybe 10% of the applications can be replaced with as is service model. Maybe 50% applications can be migrated and modernized to cloud. And when I talk about migration to modernized to cloud, it could be complete lift and shift of the applications, or it could be completely replatforming the applications to newer platforms, or refactoring the applications, making it more scalable and manageable, or completely re-architecting the applications into the newer environment, right? And as you know, as part of our portfolio assessment, not that all applications are right candidates to move to cloud, and there will be applications for sure which could be still retained on premise within my current environment. And the beauty of your migration and modernization journey is going to be obtained by existing the coexistence layer between all those applications that are running on cloud, that's running on premise environment, and how exactly you build the coexistence layer between each of those areas when you embrace your multi-cloud hybrid journey, basically, right? So what application goes to which cloud? How do you decide that? How do you know the lay the roadmap that these applications can be migrated, these applications could be modernized? And when I talk about modernized, there could be multiple options for modernized as well, basically, right? I can talk about few options, for example, so that all of you are aligned to that. When I talk about modernization options, there could be options around containerizing the monolith, option number one. Option number two could be maybe I'll have some mechanism to expose with APIs. Option number three, maybe refactor to microservices. Option number four, I'll probably custom build and add new microservices in my modernization journey. Or option number five could be all around strangling the monoliths, right? So there could be similar several options while you are doing the portfolio assessment, when you're doing the cloud assessment and drawing the transformation roadmap. It's very important to understand, acknowledge, and draw those roadmaps with right approach so that you could achieve the desired business outcome, you could achieve the desired business agility, and make your organization very successful while embracing your end-to-end entire digital transformation journey there, right? So when I talk about modernization, as I explained, there are various modernization patterns that we need to keep in mind. The pattern number one could be modernization in place. Maybe you have a mainframe data store and you have a COBOL-based application, and now you are breaking the monolith, breaking the COBOL-based applications and building your microservices within the same environment, basically, that I call as modernization in place. Or there could be a technology conversion requirement where you have a Java-based application and or you have a COBOL-based application and you are converting it to Java and building microservices on Java, basically, right? And this conversion could be completely automated through usage of certain smart tools that's available in the industry today. Of course, as we all know, conversion could be associated with a lot of challenges around scalability, manageability, and maintainability of the source code. So that needs to be taken care of. At one end, conversion is faster, conversion is cheaper, and conversion guarantees that all the mission critical business rules, workflows, and logic that are there on the source system is now available on the target system. But in the same time, the issues associated with conversion programs are that they are not design centric, architecture standards are not foolproof, and these are not going to be very scalable, manageable applications. To address that, the next option could be re-engineering to a event-driven architecture where you take care of the scalability, take care of the manageability as well as the architectural aspects. You break the monoliths into microservices, come up with an API economy kind of environment, and establish your event-driven architecture, right? That's probably the extreme part of your re-engineering. There are also intermediate options where you could wrap the legacy applications, typically pick up that part of application which is to be exposed to the outside world. Maybe you can do a wrapper class modeling and build a wrapper around that legacy application that you are exposing to the internet, and then probably create interface code or generate interface code out of those wrappers so that those interfaces can talk to other applications within your enterprise or outside of your enterprise as well. The next option is microservices based modernization that I talked about, how you can separate out your system of engagement, system of insight, and system of records, and then move into a newer operating system, newer model of breaking the monoliths to a microservices world, right? And then the last option you could have is re-engineering with the data layer, where you can establish a universal data layer through the event-driven architecture, which is popularly known as architecture-driven modernization today in the industry. So what I'm trying to paint here, to cut the long story short, is that there are various modernization patterns that we need to take into account, that we need to consider when we are making our old monolithic applications move to a hybrid multi-cloud world. And of course, with a goal of modernization that can give us reduced cost, improved agility. Of course, it will help in transformation and innovation, as well as kind of help you into explore the unbound association of API economy and the benefits that kind of come from a API factory that we all need to really look at, right? So these are the patterns that we need to really take into account And these are tactical patterns to strategic patterns. Maybe your tactical pattern could be focused around cost optimization, compute reduction, or decommissioning. And as you take the journey from left to right of the slide, as you see, your strategic patterns could be focused on complete greenfield development, building cloud native applications, maybe using a full stack development capability or Node.js kind of programming languages, burn on the cloud systems, or complete bespoke development on the cloud, right? And then the entire landscape is pretty much well defined, where you're moving from COBOL to Java, or maybe you are moving from RPG 400 to Java environment, you are converting assembler to COBOL, or maybe mechanisms to do business rules extraction, or you are doing mainframe batch cycle elimination, you are building microservices or doing architectural modernization. So there are plenty of options, plenty of patterns that you need to really think about and plan as part of your migration and modernization journey when you are moving to cloud. Right? So to put it into simplistic terms, how do I do this basically? We talked about portfolio assessment, we talked about cloud readiness assessment. So at this stage, we really need to do and we really need to understand what is there within the client's environment in terms of applications, in terms of infrastructure. When you talk about applications, of course, there are smart tools available in the industry today that you could leverage to do source code analysis to understand probably the relationship between the programs, the flowcharts, the logic, the complexity, right? And many of those smart tools helps you in understanding the application health, the relationship between different workloads, right? And in the same time, there are tools available that you can deploy to identify a lot of infrastructure specific details around your memory, CPU, server affinity, server dependencies, right? And it's pretty much fairly automated process today. So as part of identification process, you can do the cloud affinity analysis to identify the affinity and dependency between the workloads. You could do workload transformation analysis just to understand what workloads fit into the target cloud environment that could fit into your TOM, which is basically your target operating model design. What could be the complexity of the migrations? Discovery, I talked about discovery and insight, pretty much AI-driven insight process to identify which workloads can move to cloud, which workloads can move to cloud with minor modifications, which workloads needs to move to cloud with major modifications, or which workloads can be replaced in a commercial of the self SaaS model, or workloads that are not candidates move to cloud. So all those decisions you could do here as part of your identification stage. And of course, you can identify areas where you can perform various application performance optimization as well. So in a nutshell, at identification stage, you are identifying all the intricacies that's existing within your application and infrastructure portfolio that can help you to create your target cloud architecture roadmap as well as target cloud migration and modernization plan. Then the next stage is all about design and plan, where you create your target architecture, of course, based on the affinities and dependencies that you have identified. You can create the various move groups, you can create the web plans, and then those plans could help you to make those application workloads move to cloud in a very seamless phase-wise manner as per various defined waves that you define, right? Of course, on the prepare stage, before you make those workloads move to cloud, you need to plan for remediation. You need to do the target cloud preparation. So once the remediation is done, target cloud preparation is done, then you are ready to make those workloads to move to cloud and then do the cutover. When I talk about remediation, earlier I talked about standardization, earlier I talked about simplification. All those standardization and simplification exercise you need to do as part of this remediation stage. Typically, let's say in a client environment, you may have multiple version of application servers, multiple databases versions, right? Is there an opportunity to standardize those to do the cost takeout? Is there an opportunity to reduce maybe 20 different application and operating system footprints to 5 standardized footprints? Those are the things probably you need to really execute before you make those applications move to cloud here, right? So the next question is, okay, there are patterns, there are steps, there are ways to make those workloads migrate or modernize to cloud. But how do I approach application modernization? How do I do it basically? This single slide probably give you a complete picture of how exactly workloads can be moved to cloud. As I was explaining you earlier, you have portfolio assessment and roadmap as your first step, which is basically a strategy step, which is advice on cloud, where you create the roadmap as part of an advisory engagement to identify various target dispositions. When I talk about target dispositions, the target dispositions could be candidates for migration, target dispositions could be candidates for modernization or building new microservices, or replacing with commercial of the self packages, right? Once you do that, then you move to the move stage, where you perform detailed discovery and insight to identify the migration and modernization candidates. If required, you do the containerization before doing a lift and shift of migration candidates to the target cloud environment. Or as part of modernization, you could build the microservices and then containerize and then move it to your target cloud environment. And finally, once the migration and modernization is done, you need to make those workloads run and manage on the cloud environment as well, and establish various monitoring and telemetry services to measure, monitor, track performance of your workloads that move to the cloud, that can help you in delivering those right business outcomes and right business agility. So at this point of time, probably you need to really implement your DevSecOps practices and principles, various SRE practices and principles on the entire journey, so that you have a greater possibility of making your entire migration modernization journey becoming very successful. What are the tools you have at this point of time? Of course, you will be supported by various methods. Automation, right? Automation is the key when you talk about moving those workloads to cloud. Of course, you need to focus on core foundation services like agile, design thinking, DevSecOps. If you are taking a phase-wise delivery model to make your, let's say, $100 million lines of code application to target cloud environment, then obviously you need to think about a factory-based delivery model and think about forming squads and tribes that could help you to move to cloud, right? So you need to have a squad-based unified teams, tribes, and pods that you can engage in a very phase-wise manner and a squad-based delivery model, so that you can move to the cloud there. Right? So if you really summarize, and if I kind of talk about my view of overall application modernization, at one end, we're talking about lift and shift of the workloads, and other end, we are talking about building cloud native applications, right? So lift and shift primarily is going to help us quickly moving out of the data centers and doing infrastructure management at the left side. And the right side, when I'm talking about building cloud native applications, it's all about digital transformation, transforming IT, transforming people, process, and products within your company. And it's a huge cultural change within your organization as well, right? And intermediate steps, you need to, of course, focus on reducing the technical debt and move the code to the cloud, maybe taking a public cloud journey at the beginning, and then building dedicated on-premise private cloud to run your core applications, right? And the approaches that we can follow is, on the left side, probably we can do a plain lift and shift to make those workloads move to the cloud, or remediate and re-platform various workloads, refactor the workloads, and finally re-architect those workloads, basically, right? Today, if you look at probably 20% of any customer's environment in average, probably will focus on lift and shift as well as remediate and re-platform areas, and 80% of customers' application portfolio and workloads are focused around remediate to building cloud native applications. So many organizations are actually focusing on doing low-hanging fruits fast and exploiting many of the workloads that can be as is moved to the cloud through a lift and shift mechanism. And of course, the risk is more in re-architecting the workloads before you move to the cloud. But in the same time, the reward that you get by taking those risks also manifold as compared to a standard lift and shift approach, right? The real work is moving existing core applications to the cloud in a way that maximizes the benefit to the cloud. So you need to focus on remediate, refactor, re-architect, and reimagining the applications in a more probably design thinking model when you make those applications targeted for the cloud environment there. Right? So what exactly is going to be the path to a modernized portfolio? We all understood that at the very first step, we have to perform portfolio assessment. We have to do detailed discovery and insight of application and infrastructure portfolio. At this point of time, we'll be using various smart tools and maybe certain customer workshops. So we can take a top-down approach, a questionnaire-based approach, where we can spend time with customers, understand a top-down view of the business, top-down view of the applications and infrastructure, and in the same time deploy smart tools to extract application and infrastructure specific information and merge the top-down and bottom-up results to understand through various filtering mechanisms what is going to be the transformation roadmap for the client, right? And that's
Biswajit
going
sir,
to lay the
Biswajit sir, sorry to interrupt you, Manish here. Just couple of participant messaged in between that they are not able to hear the voice properly. But I can still see there are around 500 odd participants, quite 100% attentive for the session as well. I just request a couple of participants to just drop the message into the question or a chat box whether you are able to hear and see the screen properly. It might possible that maybe one or two participants are having some issues. Please log out and rejoin or check your audio setting and it should work. Yeah, I think yes, I started getting the messages that they are able to hear us. Yeah, I think we are good to go, sir. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah,
no problem. And you could hear me okay, basically, right? Maybe
yes, very much,
internet
much.
issues preventing some people.
Yes,
yeah, okay,
perfectly fine.
Good. No
perfectly
problem.
Yeah, okay, sure. Thank you.
So I was talking about path to modernized portfolio. So at the very start phase, since we talked about those complex legacy portfolios that has grown over a period of time, and I kind of sometimes compare that with a tree trunk analogy, right? So multiple applications, operating systems, everything grown over a period of time, becoming very spaghetti and very unmanageable as well, right? So deploy those top-down and bottom-up analysis techniques to identify various data sets, various data elements in terms of business, in terms of technology, in terms of cost, in terms of strategy, to create the transformation roadmap to determine the migration path in your cloud migration journey. So once you determine the migration path, then the next step is what are those paths and what you are going to do, what approach that you are going to deploy, right? So as I said earlier, your portfolio assessment will lead into dispositions like what applications can be tolerated. When I say tolerated, these are the applications they are doing just good in the environment. You don't really need to spend more money, more time on them, and probably do not need to spend your budget on those, or maybe you could look at them on a later point of time. But in the same time, there are dispositions that will be linked to elimination. These are sure shot candidates. You could eliminate those. You could retire those or decommission those to drive right cost advantage for your organization, right? These are non-value adding applications and workloads in your environment that you definitely need to get rid of, right? So focus on that retirement and decommissioning plan there. In the same time, there will be application workloads as part of your assessment, which are going to be the candidate for rehost. These are candidate for lift and shift. You just lift and shift those workloads into your target cloud environment, and they should run with minor modifications to the existing workload, right? Or there may be candidates where you need to lift and completely reshape, re-platform, moving from mainframe to Unix, moving from mainframe to Linux, right? So those are the things you need to plan. Or maybe there are candidates you know for sure that they can be completely replaced in a SaaS model by buying some SaaS licenses. You know how, for example, Salesforce of the world are doing today. So maybe there are opportunities within your application portfolio that can be replaced by completely commercial off the shelf package hosted on cloud. Then the trickiest one, costliest one, but result-wise the best one is basically re-architecting the applications. How do you really deploy smart tools by which you could re-architect your old COBOL, Natural PL1 or Fortran monoliths to maybe Java, maybe to other progressive languages, newer languages that we have prevalent in the industry today, so that you could reap the benefit of your technologies like Kubernetes, containerization, and microservices in the journey, right? So these are the paths that you need to really adopt, and these are the approach you need to focus on. And every approach is going to be characterized by various migration tools. If you are taking a rehost journey, as you see in the animation on the slide, probably the focus is all about automation, as I talked earlier. You automate your entire process, use various migration tools, and perform validations. Uh, you could take a manual approach of doing manual installation, manual configuration, manual deploy, and then do the validation as well. If you talk about re-platform, you determine the new platform, then modify underlying infrastructure. To do that modification, you can use smart migration tools again. If you're doing repurchase, you purchase the commercial of the shelf packages, SaaS packages, do the manual install and setup, then perform validation. If you are doing re-architecting, you can recreate the architecture. You can do the application code development, could do the code integration, leverage DevOps, your CI/CD pipeline, other things here, all the continuous planning, integration, testing, optimization, all those things you could do here, and then move to the validation stage. And then taking into account of everything together, you could transition to your target cloud environment in a very phase-wise manner. Don't go for a big bang approach. Always focus on small incremental pieces. Take a phase-wise manner where you can show and deliver value to your clients based upon certain agreed criteria, and then slowly build upon that. I think that's the modernization path probably you need to take when you are transforming your clients' old monolithic application portfolio to new age hybrid multi-cloud environment. This is the approach probably you need to follow. Okay, so we talked about re-architecting, and which is again very close to my heart. We know that we talked about conversion, and conversion is based on use of certain tools to convert maybe legacy code to newer environment, right? And as we discussed, this could be running code, but not very scalable code, not architecture oriented, right? So if you are in an environment where your user base is going up, this kind of situation could be very challenging, but it's cheaper, it's faster, and it's cost effective. The other part is completely doing manual rewrite, and we all understand if you have 100 million line of COBOL code and we are planning to do manual rewrite of that code, it's nightmare, right? Documentation not in place. How do you really extract information from those 100 million line of code? Can static code analysis always help? Maybe yes, but it has to be complemented by other points, other inputs, right? So that's why manual rewrite almost becomes very costlier, very time-consuming process, and many times a lot of legacy modernization engagements that kicks off really don't see the day of the light because of this massive nature, and customer doesn't really see value for a long period of time, and the project gets abandoned, right? Can we really have a middle path between this manual rewrite and conversion, so that we have a better chance of delivering faster, cheaper to the customer? So that's basically the approach that I'm kind of propagating here. You have source system, you have to do the analysis stage, but use some smart tools to analyze, to create the documents. That's basically all about recreating the requirements from your source code. Once you recreate the requirement source code, there are conversion tools that can help you to convert it to Java, right? But this is bad Java. You all know that it's coming from the monolithic world. So you can call it COBOList Java, right? Java syntax, but the code base still looks like COBOL code. So that means one COBOL program becoming one Java file. Not good Java. But the biggest advantage is that all mission critical rules, workflows that are there on the COBOL code is now available in the Java code. And since it is Java code, you can reverse engineer this to some kind of UML diagram. Excuse me. I call it base UML diagram because this UML diagram is not good because it's coming from bad Java, right? So it's bad UML diagram, but suddenly you see the advantage because of this automation. The large monolithic business process and rules that were entrapped in the source system is now available to you on a standardized format, on a visual format, that can make meaning to a lot of the new age developers. Instead of having hundreds and hundreds of COBOL developers, which are very challenging today to get from the market in the current environment, probably you can deploy a few COBOL developers, but most of your developers can focus on base UML diagram, who are well versed with the standardized design aspects of UML. Once you get this base UML diagram, you need to refine it. Refine it something which is basically the experience and expertise of your architects and designers, and that's pretty much a semi-automatic or manual process. You can't really completely make it automated, but you can refine to create a solution blueprint, and that solution blueprint also can be refined with the SME inputs from your client or the business analyst that you may have within your organization. Once you have the solution blueprint, probably you can forward engineer that to your target environment. Because of your automation on the analysis phase, because of the semi-automatic approach on the design phase, or semi-automatic to automatic approach on the development phase, you kind of reduce the time that's required to do a manual rewrite. And in the same time, since you are focused on design here and completely doing UML-based design and development and architecture here through architecture-driven modernization, you have a better guarantee that you are delivering your client a better architecture-driven application on cloud, right? So this becomes a middle path and pretty much well accepted by many clients today who want to leverage best sides of both of the world, conversion as well as manual rewrite. Okay, so that's what I was talking, automatic, manual, or semi-automatic, and semi-automatic and automatic. That consists your re-architecting and re-engineering time frame and helps you to provide business agility and a more faster, cheaper, and better way to your clients. Okay, so mainframe extends to our definition of hybrid multi-cloud platform. So you have application assessment done, you have various platform targets identified. So at this point of time, you can take a containerization approach or repackage approach or refactor or externalization approach, enrichment approach, right? And you can look at P2B, P2P, B2B virtualization techniques to finally make those applications go through your landing zone and operate on a hybrid cloud environment, right? Of course, you can leverage multi-cloud, IBM Cloud, or AWS, Azure, Google, or any other cloud, and maybe Red Hat OpenShift as a de facto containerization platform to help you to embrace that hybrid multi-cloud journey. So the whole focus here is when you are embracing business agility for migrate to modernize workloads towards cloud, you need to have a very defined cloud method. You need to focus on various process method and tools. You cannot ignore automation. Of course, your organization needs to be ready with right skills and enable people within your organization to acquire those skills. And of course, platform is key for the success of entire business agility journey there. Right, so mainframe modernization, various school of thoughts, maybe platform, DevOps, application, right? So in essence of time, probably I'm not going to really go through details of those things, but I just thought I'll introduce you guys that when we talk about mainframe modernization, there are platform specific aspects, there are DevOps implementations in mainframe, and there are various application refactoring and refactoring aspects that we talked about. So in a nutshell, modernization requires incremental rollout as well as coexistence of your old monolithic world with new cloud world, right? So you need to have a mechanism by which your old monolith coexists with your new cloud-based environment, right? Various recommendation engines and approach available today to make those monoliths to move into microservices world. You can use various microservices recommendation services to identify the affinities and dependencies and club the microservices as one move group before you generate microservices specific codes or the CI/CD pipeline there, right? The whole key to the success of this business agility journey is incremental modernization at the core. How could you really transform from your current states through various increments of implementation to your target state? And as part of taking this journey, as I talked earlier, how your current state can coexist with your modernized state. So it's very, very important and paramount importance that you have this approach in place so that you have a greater possibility of realizing your business and IT value at execution of each of your increment before you completely move into a cloud world. So it's a journey. It's not going to be one of requirement where you just lift and shift and your job is done. It's a journey. It's going to take fair amount of effort, time, cost, and in the same time, the beauty is that it's going to deliver you both and business and IT value in a long run. Right, so various tool sets that's available, just an indicative tool sets, but you could have many industry standard tools that can be part of your journey here, right? So then the question is, how do I set up the client modernization journey, basically, right? So obviously this is not a single exercise where you can stand up and say that I'll do it alone myself, right? Have an attitude where you can work with your client as a single team to deliver this. Remember, this is your client's business, your client's application, and your client has a lot of knowledge about these applications for the last several years, 20 to 25 years, right? So co-create aspirational vision and strategy with your clients as the first step. Evaluate various program elements for the future state. Definitely, you do a pilot modernization exercise to uncover all the surprises, to open the Pandora's box. Do not ignore the pilot, right? And then once pilot is done, your success criteria is delivered. You enhance your approach, you refine your approach, and then scale incremental modernization program in a phase-wise manner till the time you embed the modernization program into your organization's culture. And this will help you to decrease time to market, unlock the valuable data, and in turn provide you business agility. So do the setup and initial engagement, seed the sprout within your client's mind. Definitely do a migration modernization rationalization workshop with your client. As I talked, do the initial pilot, then scale migration modernization in a phase-wise incremental manner to do the value delivery for your client, basically. Right? So what is the value we're talking about at the end? If you take this approach, definitely you are going to transition and transfer your organization to an organization which is multi-cloud by design. You will have a lot of intelligence insights through the deployment of those smart tools and AI and ML technologies to drive cloud transformation roadmaps for your clients. Obviously, the focus is going to be on automation and process orchestration, one-click migration for various known patterns that we discussed, orchestration for large-scale complex transformation runbooks that you can achieve. And end of the day, your key goal, key focus is going to be continuous discovery. How do you really deploy a number of assets and accelerators to discover current IT landscape? Remember, if you are missing discovering your current IT landscape, your target IT landscape is going to have issue. So focus your effort, your time, and ensure that you do a flawless current IT step discovery through the top-down and bottom-up approach I already explained about, right? So based on hybrid clouds, the new era promises dramatic benefit for the business in terms of interoperability, in terms of achieving portability, in terms of achieving ecosystem expansion, in terms of improving the responsiveness and moving open and freedom from various vendor choices. And as you all know, if you look at all these 5 points, that's nothing but what we call as business agility for our clients. That's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Thank you very much. And I know I did a little fast, but hope it made sense to all of you guys. Thank you very much. Any questions, Manish?
Thank you,
we can open it now, basically.
No,
I don't
great.
know how much time we
Yeah,
have. Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I think we'll take 5 more minutes on the question and answer session. Thank you, Biswajit, for the wonderful session. Hello, team. I think you can put down your questions in a question section in your right side of the dashboard, and I'll be happy to get it answered. So we're just waiting for the question from the team, and we'll take it one by one. Let me just share the questions. I'm yet to see the question. Biswajit, in case someone directly message you the question, you can also read out from the window.
Absolutely. And guys, if you want to get in touch with me and get more insights, you see my Twitter ID on the slide page. Feel free to reach out to me.
Sure. We're just waiting for some questions. As of now, there are only thank you notes coming out for the session. Okay, thank you, Biswa, for the wonderful session. Great. Yeah, participants are asking if we can share the presentation. I think, team, the presentation might be the copyright of the organization, but the recorded copy of this webinar would be available. Okay. Now, I just got the question from Umesh. Okay, Umesh Mukashi. how come a person from mainframe background having upscale experience of a cloud?
Okay, so good question. So I think today, as you know, so a lot of mainframes are actually kind of opening up and looking at embracing cloud basically, right? So if you remember what I was talking, so mainframe modernization to cloud is probably going to be a huge business stream. And if I look at a lot of industry analyst reports for next 2 to 3 years, it's going to be a key focus area, right? So every mainframe developer and architect needs to really acquire those cloud skills, mostly focused around how do you really identify microservices out of those monoliths, right? And how you translate yourself to the microservices world, basically from the mainframe world, right? So there are a lot of work happening there, and in terms of acquiring microservices specific skills, then there are, of course, IBM is talking about G Cloud and other areas where you can mainframe specific cloud skills you can develop, and nothing said that. So today, as you know, we are moving from as individual practitioners like you and me, we all are moving from a E-SAP practitioner to T-SAP practitioner to PI-SAP practitioner, basically, right? And maybe Manish, I'm touching your favorite topic as well here, right? So acquiring more skills in depth and breadth is going to be key, basically. If you have stronger mainframe skills and you need to really get yourself tuned and trained on maybe IBM Cloud or Red Hat OpenShift or AWS, right? So probably your skills will really become multifold, you'll become multi-skilled, and that will help you to grow in your career and become a very successful practitioner as well, right? So stay tuned. Many of the organizations are focusing on really transitioning from the mainframe to the new world and how to enable and make the practitioners move up the value chain. But interesting question. We can have some offline discussion, Mokase, as well on this basically.
Yeah, there's another question from Anup Reche. Does this transformation technique suggest to all cloud platform like AWS, Azure, Google, IBM, and everything?
Everything basically, right? And today the world is more moving towards, as I said, the hybrid multi-cloud world, right? Gone those days where you can say that I'll kind of do a vendor lock-in and only I'll move into IBM Cloud or AWS Cloud or Azure Cloud. And when you talk about hybrid multi-cloud, now every client is more and more looking at to embracing multi-cloud. Which part of my application workload is best suited for AWS? Which part of my application workload is best suited for Azure, Google, or IBM Cloud? How can I use Red Hat OpenShift to containerize my applications to run on each of those clouds? So it's combination of all of those things.
Great. So there's another interesting question from Neetu Kumari. What kind of application should be placed on cloud? Is cloud suitable for all type of applications, or do you have some specific category of application that should be prioritized?
Not really. So for the sake of moving to cloud, I will not suggest, I will not recommend to move everything to cloud, basically, right? As part of the cloud assessment that I was talking, as part of the assessment, you can identify which applications can move to cloud as is, which applications can move to cloud with minor modifications, which applications can move to cloud with major modifications, which applications can be replaced by commercial off-the-shelf package in SaaS model in cloud, and which are the applications that cannot move to cloud, basically, right? And there are applications, there are workloads that is going to be still residing on your on-premise environment and coexist with your cloud environment. For example, let's say you have a HP image database in your organization. I'm just giving an example for namesake, right? There's no point in moving HP image database to cloud, right? It probably makes more sense for you to have that running on your on-premise environment as it is, instead of making it Dockerized and making it move on the cloud. It's not going to give you any benefit, basically, right? So look, as part of your assessment, where you can maximize your benefit, where you can have maximum cost takeout, and target and focus on making those workloads move to cloud. For the sake of moving to cloud,
Great.
I will not recommend to move everything and anything to cloud.
That's so
good
nice.
question, Nitu.
Just we'll take last two questions. Last two questions to conclude, Biswajit, in the interest of time. So there is a Mayank who is asking the question: what all are the key points while considering the refactoring?
Okay, so when we talk about refactoring, the first of all, if you're dealing with a legacy application, the first thing is there are a lot of dead code and redundant code that's part of your application, which is already there, right? So you have to have a mechanism by which you can reduce those redundancies. Point number one. Second, since these applications are built over a period of time, there may not be development adhering to modular development practices. So how can you really, second point, reduce the fragmentation, make the code more scalable, manageable, and modular? That you need to look at as part of your refactoring, right? Then point number 3, is there any opportunity to standardize and simplify, right? I have Oracle different versions. Is there an opportunity for me to really standardize those in the target cloud environment, right? I think these are probably at elementary level you need to really focus on. Think about restructuring, think about simplification, and think about modularization and standardization as your key components in your refactoring journey.
Great. I think there's another very interesting question, Vishwajit, that is coming from Swapnil Mishra. Can you share your views on migrating to cloud from on-premises environment in terms of payment industry? It seems the participant is coming from the organization which deals into the payment authentication, into the payment industry. And he's asking, can you share your views on migrating to the cloud from on-premises environment?
Okay, so I think for a payment industry, if I think I'm going to little generalize this, but I need to really understand more details about the scope that we are discussing here. But if I generalize, public cloud is a no-go basically, right? So you need to more probably focus on what can go into your dedicated private cloud if you are focusing on payment industry, right? Typically organizations, if I take some of the organizations name like FIS and other organizations that's kind of doing a lot of stuff here, right? So focus on what can go to dedicated private cloud and what can go to public cloud, maybe your some of your customer analytics and other stuffs you can still have Microsoft Net Dynamics and other things on a public cloud environment, but your core business process definitely needs to be on dedicated private cloud. And in the same time at on-premise at times, right, there are multiple instances where still it runs on on-premise and talk to dedicated private cloud and public cloud as well, basically, right? And typically, or maybe if you are having in payment industry, typically anti-money laundering, fraud detection, and other stuff. If you are extending that scope, maybe that needs a separate cognitive analytics and other products like NICE Actimize and other stuff that you need to really look at on a cloud model. So I think this is a very vast scope, Swapnil, but happy to discuss with you. Maybe we can have offline discussion on this. I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer to your question.
Yeah, correct. I think there is a Anil Rao, another interesting question. What are the factors to be considered if you have very tight budget for the cloud migration?
Okay, I think good question, Anil, and I answered that basically, right? So have a mechanism by which the cloud initiative can become a self-funding initiative for you. If you have a very complex portfolio and you do the portfolio assessment, identify maybe 20% of your applications are to be decommissioned and non-value adding. By decommissioning those applications, the cost savings that you get, that itself can become a self-funding initiative for your cloud journey without any budget even, right? So that's the starting point. If you have a large portfolio, the other points you need to really look at where you can maximize the value. Basically, it's a trade-off, right? What I invest and what return I get out of it, right? So that should be part of your roadmap creation process. But many organizations, large organizations, they are kind of adopting holistic portfolio assessment, decommissioning, and the benefit from decommissioning feeding into their future cloud initiatives.
That's great, Vishwajit. I believe still there are many questions coming in. So just in the interest of time, we'll try to summarize today's session. Thank you everyone for joining the webinar. It was a pleasure having all of you. I hope all of you enjoyed today's session. I can see, Vishwajit, so many compliments coming out into the question sections as well. All of them are appreciating your session. It was really a good learning even for me as well. Yeah. Thank you. You are a real leader, Vishwajit. No, sir, you are a real leader. We all appreciate the kind of effort which you take into your knowledge sharing session. It's really, we are thankful to you. And I think you are taking one more session for us. That's on the DevSecOps in the first week of May. So I would request the rest of the participants to join for that session as well. Yeah. Yes, sir. I think you're about to say something.
Yeah. So I was telling, if you can share those feedback with me, it will be good for me to understand. And if there are some questions unanswered, I'll try to answer that as well. But thanks. I think thanks everyone for joining and listening to me. And I thoroughly enjoyed this. Of course, we had less time for the questionnaire since I took more time presenting. But hopefully it was meaningful for you guys, and look forward to talk to most of you guys sometime somewhere soon.
Yeah. So there are many questions on
all the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, sir. No, sir, welcome, sir. So I think there are many questions on the recorded sessions as well. So we will make the sessions available. I think my team will process from the back end. It will take another 3 to 4 days to make it available. All of you can get yourself registered on Novel Vista channel on YouTube, or possibly get connected via WhatsApp notification services, and you will receive regular updates on all planned webinars, their recorded session, upcoming events, and everything. We are also trying to send it all these emails, all these registrations, sorry, all these recorded links via email as well. Thank you everyone, thanks for joining in. We are really happy to host this webinar. Please do share this feedback with your leaders, with your L&D team and the HR as well. If things goes well, we look forward to see you again in the month of May for the interesting series of webinar. Thank you all. Thank you for joining in. Thank you, Biswajit sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Manish.